to another week of Dear Piggy's Python tutorial. I'm so excited to have you guys back this time, and we are going to be working on a little bit more of lists as well as for, else statements, for statements, that sort of thing. But in this video, we're going to stick with integer lists. So open up a new tab in your browser, go to repl.it, our in-browser IDE that we use to code. Click the blue Start Coding button in the top right-hand corner, select your language Python, and create your REPL. So, for those of you who have watched my previous videos about lists in general, specifically string lists, this is going to be very, very simple for you. It's the same exact idea, except for the fact that we are going to be using numbers instead of strings. So, like always, we are going to give our list a name, right? And usually what lists are is it's a group of items, and items is going to be every specific thing in the list. Now, in integers, you don't really think of it as an item, but in a string list, it makes more sense. But we need to give it a name first, so we can say, let's see, squares. And so we say squares is equal to. Now, when we were learning about data types, we learned that quotation marks was for strings. Now, how you really let your computer, your program know that this is going to be a list is you use these brackets, and they're found right next to the P. And they're brackets, not curly braces or parentheses. Remember, they are brackets, so don't get those mixed up. So if you remember clearly, in our string list, we would put quotation marks, and then we would type here, and then we could put whatever we want, and that would be our item. Now, in this case, we aren't going to do that because we're looking to make an integer list. And an integer list means numbers. And what we're going to do is we're going to use actual numbers. And if you remember, let's create a variable first. If we can say my number. And this we can just choose 4. And in this case, this would be a variable with a value of 4, right? Now, this is very, very similar when we're making lists, integer lists. We just say 1, 4, 9, 16, and that could be a list. And it's very, very easy to make integer lists, right? You don't need to put any sort of quotation marks. All you need to do is separate each individual item, each individual index by using a comma. So likewise, you can see here if we want to print our squares and we run our program, we get 1, 4, 9, 16. And you can notice that these are squares. And this, again, is very similar to what we've learned before. I'm not going to go over every single way you can access these items, but you can go ahead and take a look at the lists video that we made last time. It's the same idea. If I wanted to access 9, remember, Python starts with 0, so we would go 0, 1, 2, so 9 would be 2. And so we could print the value of that out, and then we would get 9. So I hope this kind of is a little bit of a refresher. If we wanted to do negative indexing, if we did -1, it would give us 16, because negative indexing is going backwards. And if we wanted to change it, we could say squares. Instead of changing 9, I want it to be 8 now, which is not really a square, but if we run it, we could see, oh, what's the error here? 9 is equal to 8. Oh, remember, we don't have an item called 9. This is my silly mistake, but this is a great way to learn, guys. 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. 9 is the second index. So now when we change it, it gives us 1, 4, 8, 16. So these are some quick refresher reminders about how we can do a little bit play with different items in our list. If you want to learn more, go look at the lists, the string lists tutorial that I made last week. Now, what I want to go into in this tutorial, it's going to be a quick one. We're going to learn how to concatenate these lists. Now, it sounds fancy, but don't be scared. Concatenation is basically you're connecting, or in a way, I like to think of it as joining your lists in a way. So, now, this is easier. So we could say, I want to add some more squares. So you can say squares plus, and then you give it another one. What's the next square after 16, guys? 5 times 5 is 25. Then we get 36, and then we get 49, and then we get 64, and then we get 81, and then we get 100. So now what will happen when we print squares? And then I've printed squares here, and then I will print squares here. That way we really see the difference. So if you're wondering why this doesn't work, I'm going to give you guys an answer. Right now, if we print squares, we haven't really told it to really change, right? Right now, squares still has a value of 1, 4, 9, 16. In order for this to really show up as the new list, we need to give it another name. So again, very, very similar to our string list. We can say big squares is equal to squares plus the other squares. And now if we print the value of big squares, we run it and then we get our big list of 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100. Making sure I didn't do my math wrong there. So Python integer list. Very, very simple, guys. You don't need any sort of quotation marks. Almost the exact same as a string list. I just wanted to get it down that besides string lists, you also have integer lists as well. And you can also do operations with these. In a way, you can concatenate them. So that was integer lists in Python. And I hope you guys understood it. For a more detailed explanation, take a look at our string list video in the previous tutorials. That's it for now. See you in the next one. Bye, guys.